How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. I'd like to point something out. Um, this Q individual, she has proven that she is watching you. And she cares what you think. Which means she is playing you. Let's do some math. Let's use this thing called logic. So what you do first of all, when you're going to try to use that thing called logic, you're going to take all of your emotions and you're going to push them off to the side. And you're going to use this thing called critical thinking. Truly. So let me see if I got this straight. You have an individual that supposedly is in the higher intelligence, has some sort of affiliation, either direct or indirect, with the DOD and the intelligence apparatuses of this country and or abroad. Sneaking around the interwebs. First on 4chan, then on 8chan, and all this back and forth nonsense. And then Q puts out a post. I believe it was yesterday, maybe the day before, talking about, well, just because you can't see the arrest doesn't mean that they're not happening behind the scenes. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? Do you know what that means? That means Q is monitoring what the collective thinks. And what is the collective's attitude just as of late? Where are the arrests? Where are they? Listen, man. There's irrefutable proof of sedition, of treason, criminal activity, but not one big fish has been indicted, stood trial, and incarcerated. Why not? And people are shaking the electronic bush, asking those questions. So Q comes out with a statement like that? That means Q is watching you and cares very much what you think. Because it is you that's being played, man. I keep trying to tell you that. They're lulling you into this big old hope carrot. They're dangling this hope carrot, hoping that you'll just hang on for just a little longer, maybe a couple of more months, and nothing is going to happen. Listen, I'm not suggesting that you give up. Absolutely not, because I'm not going to give up. The louder people shout that this is a real situation, that entity, that letter is sneaking around the interwebs and they're on your side. No, they're not on your side. Wrong. It's a big manipulation game. That's exactly what it is. It's a game. So there are so many exercises that take place in this country on a weekly basis. For real. I mean, listen, I know a woman that worked for FEMA for over 30-something years. For real. No kidding around. So they have these exercises all over the nation. They sure do. And other territories. Territory of the United States would be places like Guam, Puerto Rico, right? Certain islands in the Pacific and such. It wouldn't be Diego Garcia, because Diego Garcia is actually a part of the UK, right? Yeah. We just lease the property so that way we can do all the military operations and such. But all the same, you would think some entity, some letter, would not care what you thought. But the tide is turning. It sure is. Because the more that people promote this person that's sneaking around the interwebs, playing these games with you, trying to provide you with some sense of invisible hope, right? It's a fairy tale, obviously. So, as long as everybody keeps talking about, well, you know, hey, oh, I'm so excited. The next Q post, oh, it's here, and everybody's, oh, they're so excited. what has resulted in it? Nothing. Nothing. And why would they care, once again, why would they care what you thought? Why? Because you are the person that the game is being directed at. Does that make sense? Let's go ahead and go even further. Now, a lot of people know that I've been very vocal that Q is really Qlinton. Sure is. So what play was made just recently? Again, a post was made by Q that burped out an IP address in association with an email server directly affiliated with Hill herself. But why would they do that? Because they're trying to disperse away from any thinking that they're that person. But here's the problem with that, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody, and I do mean anybody, can pull any IP address from any website. All they have to do is place it in RobTex, ROBTEX. That's right. And you'll get all of the associated information of that domain just that quick. You sure can. So what did that prove? Nothing. That is to try to divert attention away from that letter being Qlinton. But here's the problem with that, ladies and gentlemen. How would it be possible for Q to burp that out in suggesting that that domain was monitoring their posts on 8chan unless there was a collusion between 8chan and Q? Does Q have the keys? Is Q the site administrator of 8chan? Huh? That's exactly what that would mean. That would mean a direct collusion between 8chan and Q. Right? Exactly. That was a bad move. That was a really bad move. Trying to divert attention that they're that person. Because again, that letter is very, very concerned of what the collective thinks. Right? Hey, listen, I'm not going to sit here and be condescending against any channel out there, against anyone on the interwebs at all, because there are some fantastic investigators out there. Fantastic. Exceptional. That are investigators of, let's say, data on the computer end, investigators on documents, investigators when it comes to figuring things out. So let's do some math, ladies and gentlemen. If you really believe that a bunch of YouTubers are going to change anything, you're crazy as hell. Because you're not. You're not when you're talking about the incarceration, prosecution, indictments of these people that are truly light lords, that are controlling all of us. It's not going to happen. Sorry. Because if it was going to happen, if the swamp was going to be drained, it would have already started long ago. Because you can bet your wooden nickel, if it had been you or me with the irrefutable evidence that has been presented thus far, either in the press or abroad, you would already be behind bars. Would you not? Yes, you would. So why is that not the case now? Can we, the people, change things? Yes, we can. Listen, a lot of people think, Monty, that's negative. No, it's not negative. It's positive. That's the thing. You got these light lords running around, and you got to go back to the era of the incident that occurred in New York in September of 2001, because that's where all this nonsense started. It's back then. So you talk about draining the swamp. Start there. Because again, there's irrefutable evidence that there's something very wrong with that picture. Huh. And there's thousands of people involved in that mess. There sure are. But you see, the very people back then that were involved in not only the planning, the execution, and then the big cover up of it, they're rubbing elbows in the Trump administration, Mueller being one of them. So how are you going to drain the swamp if the very swamp monsters are rubbing elbows with the current administration? I was just curious if you could kind of explain that to me. How's that going to work? Am I suggesting that everybody needs to just sit back, mind their own business? No, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is, like I stated before, tens of thousands of people, if not millions of people, have left the mainstream media and they come to YouTube and Facebooks and blogs and forums to get their news, to be informed, to get your opinions. Not some hot dog up there working for CNN or Fox or somebody else. Because they've been so disgusted because they were abused by those news organizations either over a long period of time or just as of late. So a lot of people are yearning for truth, or at least their version of truth. Right? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right. So it's up to us. It's up to us to inform those people that are seeking at least their version of truth. So what I'm just trying to say, if all these people, instead of clamoring, oh, Q just posted again, oh, I'm so excited, oh, it's ridiculous. If all of these brilliant minds, Monty's just a nobody, I'm just a guy, all right? So just, Monty's worth a popsicle stick and a shoestring. That's a fact, Jack. I've always maintained my position because that's exactly who I am. All right? But just because you're of little financial wealth, just because you're of little, let's say, public status somewhere, does not mean you have to be uneducated. I'm sorry, it just doesn't mean that. If all of these brilliant minds, now in other words, these investigators that investigate, they have their own little niche. Some people are very astute in computers. Other people are very astute in documents. And other guys are astute in, investigating all of the back-end workings and affiliations and this, that, and the other. You see what I mean? Everybody has their place. If all these people would get together collectively and start shaking that electronic bush, buddy, shaking it profusely to the point where these people that are supposedly working for us in our own government do something, believe me, they would. Because they'd have no choice. They'd have no choice. Remember what happened with the memo? Everybody and their brothers talking about it all over the country, placing pressure to get that released. Was it released? Yes. In my opinion, it wasn't the original. It was, let's say, an alternative to the original. In other words, it was edited quite severely. Because you're not going to get all of the information, the deep secrets of the deep state. If you think you are, you're not. I don't care how much you cry and whine. It's not going to happen. No, it's not. But there are so many operations that are going on, and there's so many tests that are going on. There's so many, let's say, behind the scenes, I call them scams because that's what they are. They really mean nothing, in the long run. All they are is some sort of scientific review or study to figure out how this one's going to react or how the collective is going to react. And you're being manipulated big time. You sure are, because that letter, she, and I mean it, she, cares very much what you think. Because in the posts themselves, She's showing you how much she cares. Oh, just because you're not seeing the arrests, they are really happening, believe me. Because you see, that letter does not want you breaking away from this big old hype of how wonderful they are. How wonderful that they have some sort of access to the president, and it makes you feel like you're so important because you're involved in some sort of action or inaction or some sort of operation with some sneaky little secret agent woman. Right? That's why people are so enthralled about this. That's why people are so excited about all this nonsense, because they think they have some sort of indirect window into the president and they're part of something big. And it's all garbage. It's a test, man. I'm telling you. It's a study. Because you are supposed to be the brilliant minds, the investigators that can look into things so deeply and get some sort of result. Might only be your opinion, so what? Who cares? That's a whole part of this, right? That's the whole point of this. But you're being played, man. You're being played. You sure are. But what's the end result? To manipulate you into believing that they have a direct access to the president. Excuse me. Let's talk about Qlinton. Let's go ahead and talk about that. She would have access to pens, presidential pens. She would have access to photographs, information from the DOD through third parties, or past information. Those images that were put out about the King Tower, for anybody that wants to, let me pick somebody who's probably really good on that specific part. Agent 19. Please review the photographs that were put out by Q the other day dealing with the King Tower. Please do. And do an audit on all of the vehicles in the parking lot. And an audit specifically on the Mercedes that is being focused in on. Give me the year, the make, and the model. Okay? And why is that important? I'll tell you why. Well, you see, when you got more money than God, and that's a lot of money, by the way, you're not going to be rolling around in a 2015 Mercedes. You got that? No, you're not. You're going to be rolling around in a 2019 model or 2018 model. You're not going to be monkeying around with some vehicle that's 5 years old or 3 years old or even 1 year old. No, you're not. Nope. See, for all you know, those photographs were taken 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. How ridiculous. Right? It doesn't mean anything. If you go to the CIA library and you start reading information, that's a good place for the CIA library. Don't go there with a VPN. You'll be sorry. Okay? Just go in there totally clean. Don't go to a federal website. I'm telling you, with a VPN, you're going to be really sorry. They're going to latch onto your computer and download your whole hard drive. And they'll follow you around for 6 months. Because when they see a VPN, they think you're up to no good. Okay? They think maybe it's some sort of possible attack or whatever. So don't do it. It's just advice. From nobody. So go in there and start reading the information from years past. Your jaw would drop. You'll be like, what? Exactly. But the information from there has been declassified. In other words, it's okay for you to see it now. But at the time, it was so classified that if you saw it by accident, it would be illegal for you to read it. That's how sensitive the information would have been. It's the same thing now. You mean to tell me somebody that was a first lady of an actual president would not have access to photographs of pens? They sure would. You don't know what pen that was. They put up a post of a pen. Oh, this was on the counter and la la la. And people, oh my God, oh my God. She was directly involved with the press. Hogwash. Nonsense. That's what I keep trying to tell you, buddy. When people use their emotion to come up with a conclusion, it's already skewed. Automatically, it's skewed. Take your emotions, put them to the side, and use logic. Right? Truly. You can't believe everything you see and or read. You can't. You just can't. And to try to do that would be extremely irresponsible for all parties involved. So, these people that are attacking me, again, without provocation, hey, do what you got to do. If you don't like my content, don't watch. There you go. It's all settled. All over. If you believe that things are going on, stop making videos, pick up the phone, and call the police and file a formal report with your face, your name, and your signature. That's all you got to do. So these people running around making these videos about, oh my God, why haven't you called the police? Why is it when I'm making comments to you like that, you're deleting my comments? Because you don't want other people seeing logic. And it is logical. If you truly believe these things, stop making videos. I'm giving you advice because it's free. Pick up the phone and file a formal report. That's all you got to do. Okay? But above and beyond that, just have fun. Just have fun. You see, that is a tactic that people use to try to intimidate others into silence. But it doesn't work with me. I'm sorry. Monty's very strong. I'm very strong-minded, strong-willed. I can get over it. I don't care. I've been through it all, buddy. I've been through it all. Because I know these tactics that people use to try to discredit someone, to try to silence them, to try to place all these other people watching in such fear that they too will be silent with their own opinions, with their own conclusions. I know this, buddy. And it doesn't faze me a bit. Could care less. Do what you got to do. Please, for everybody else, chime in. I'm monographed, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. And one more thing. I'm going to leave a link down below to an Agent 19 video that will show you, truly, the kind of games that people play to try to besmirch somebody's character, and it's all a scam. Okay? I mean, truly, Agent 19 is a totally separate person. He's out of the state of Kentucky. I'm not that person. Sorry. Okay? I'm sorry you can't get that right. You're supposed to be an investigator. You've been interviewed from all these other people that are giving you props for being such a wonderful investigator, but yet you can't get two people right. One's out of Kentucky, and the other one's in a totally different state. What is going on with you, buddy? What's going on? I mean, really, that's hysterical. Good thing we ripped the video. Anyway, that's the big ball of wax. Again, please chime in.